Some of the most magnificent painted pottery in the early Near East was produced in the 4th millennium BC at Susa, S-U-S-A. By historical times, the well-to-do in the Mesopotamian cities were able to afford tableware and decorative vessels made of gold and silver, and ordinary pots, therefore, were made with much less artistic attention. It used to be pottery was the big thing. It was extremely well decorated, right? But eventually, pottery becomes just normal, and they have bronze silverware and stuff that's more highly decorated. For the modern archaeologist, pottery also has many uses. Clay pots were made in great abundance. They broke easily and were discarded, but the broken pieces survived by the thousands, so that one could pick up shards by the handful on any ancient site. A quick survey, indeed, of the top and eroded sides of an ancient mound will often help the archaeologist decide whether it should be dug. Furthermore, pottery does not usually travel far from its site of manufacture. When the excavator does proceed to dig, he will find the layers of inhabitation can be determined by the pottery as well as by the crumbled house remains. Now, what would that mean? If all the houses crumble and this style of pottery disappears and there's new houses with a new style of pottery, and all these houses crumble at the same time, it probably means the city was destroyed and sacked or something like that. Everywhere the styles of decorating vases and their shapes also changed from generation to generation, whether one is investigating a site in Peru or in Turkey. Within any one cultural area, men tended to make and decorate their pots in a somewhat uniform style, though with vocal variations, and the historian can trace cultural movements by the spread of a style into new areas. So it's cultural movements, but does that mean people moved, or does that mean the ideas moved, you know? Sometimes archaeologists are too inclined to assume that the sudden appearance of a new pottery style means the migration of a people as against the possibility of simple cultural diffusion. Still, the discovery of a new pottery style on top of a burned layer, together with changed patterns of burial, right, if you also have a change in the patterns of how they treat the dead, then very often that attests to an invasion and a general upheaval in an area. For all these reasons, pottery is often called the alphabet of archaeology. Interesting. Who knew pottery was so important? I read this book years ago for the first time in college, so I was alert to it, but these things sort of pass out of your mind sometimes, and then you need them refreshed. Only in 2 areas of the earth does it seem certain that men independently created civilization. One of these was in Central America, in Peru, where the Mayans and Peruvians developed civilization in the 1st millennium before Christ. The other was the river valleys of Mesopotamia and Egypt in the Near East. Here civilized societies had emerged by 3000 BC.